Welcome to the Defence Connect podcast, Australia's leading voice in national security and defence industry intelligence, direct from the nation's top policy and business experts.
G'day everybody, welcome to the first Defence Connect podcast for 2026, and it's also a first for us. This is our first videoed podcast, which will be going out on the Defence Connect YouTube channel. So make sure to check us out there. You'll be able to get a good look at what we look like, and you will no doubt notice that there is a rose amongst the thorns here in the lovely Bethany, who has just joined the team as of September, October last year. We haven't managed to scare her off yet. And for other people not familiar with what the rest of the team look like, we have the gentle giant that is Rob Dougherty, our senior journalist here. Guys, Happy New Year. How was your break?
It was good. I did nothing, and it was really good to do nothing.
Rob, out on the farm?
No, it's been an interesting break. We had a fair bit of come out of Venezuela, so I was keeping track of that, and it's been an exciting time.
Yeah, it hasn't exactly been a quiet start to 2026. We've had Greenland, Venezuela, build up going on in Iran.
Greenland has been its own thing. Yeah.
It's like it's not like Fetch, right? Like Greenland may happen.
It's like the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah. But it's been an interesting couple of weeks, and we've got some interesting subjects to talk about. Rob, you've got the release of the revelation of the new Abrams E3. We've got the speech out of the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, around the end of the rules-based order.
Rupture.
Rupture.
Yep.
And MC-55... Peregrine arriving finally for the Air Force, and you've got an undergrad qualification to talk to us about.
Yes, and the ambassador
Bethany.
as well.
And the new US or new Australian ambassador to the United States in the current Secretary of Defence, Mr. Greg Moriarty.
Yeah, should we start with that one, I guess?
Yes, let's start with that one.
Well, it was announced over the weekend, and so there was a lot of talk about who would get it, and a lot of people were like thinking about if it should be like a Labor person, because obviously the Labor government, but everyone's very happy that it's not a Labor representative.
Political
that's currently,
flunky.
Greg Moriarty. Moriarty? Is that how you say it? Yeah.
Yep.
Is going to be taking up the role. He was ambassador to Iran and Indonesia already, so he has he knows what he's talking about. And he's been in this kind of situation before. And it's getting a lot of good response from everyone on the political spectrum. Like Labor people are saying this is a good one. Liberal people are saying this is good. The Greens didn't like it.
Do the Greens like anything ever?
They're not defence-wise. They're a bit iffy.
Yeah, they said that he was failing upwards because of their disagreement with AUKUS. But, that's neither here nor there. And, so I think it's a very important time for this to be like a calm person in the role, because I liked Kevin Rudd, to be honest. I think he was good.
Sorry, we got me rolling my eyes on video then.
But that's okay. Anyway, but it's good that there's someone calm and seemingly not as vocal or politicized. So,
but we liked Kevin Rudd across the board.
I liked Kevin Rudd.
Yeah, I've got too many bad memories of Kevin 07 and
of Kevin 07.
Was it Kevin 11 as well? Did he run again or not?
No, 2011 I think was.
Wasn't that Julia Gillard?
I'm pretty sure that was Julia Gillard.
Yeah.
And then they brought him back for 2013, which is when they lost government.
He had some comments previously about Trump, and I personally feel like he was a good choice for the Biden years because he was, Liberal and Labor and that side of politics.
Yeah.
And he knew about China. He was making some informed decisions there. But when you go into a Trump era, you want someone who's very defense focused, who's going to be along that sort of allied military setting, which Moriarty is, because he's come from defence.
Having dealt with Secretary Moriarty a couple of times in my previous careers. He's a very measured, considered, safe set of hands that will be able to navigate some of the intricacies and the nuances that are required to navigate the imperial capital that is Washington. So it's a good choice. It's a good choice. And I will say that Kevin did a very, very good job in his time as the ambassador to the United States. He did a very, very good job of navigating some of the sensitivities around the Trump administration and by all accounts, did a stand-up job succeeding in getting the critical minerals deal over the line, which we saw late last year. So well done, Ambassador Rudd. And I hear he's trying to run for Secretary
UN.
General of the United Nations.
I think that'd be awesome.
Really? Wow.
How cool would that be?
That's such a... I think that's probably the only role that could contain Mr. Rudd's ego.
I mean, he's good at his jobs. I mean, I think he's good. I mean, I think it is definitely interesting that you have to have someone that's calm and someone that doesn't speak too much about. Yeah, but I think that's like kind of. I mean, I think it's good that everyone can have their own opinion and still do the job.
Yeah.
Like what Kevin Rudd
definitely.
did. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of sad that like people in these high level roles have to like pander to Trump now and like not get on his bad side. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's always politics, right?
Yeah,
that's probably a different conversation, a wider conversation around Australia.
Yeah.
Certainly, you would want a former PM in a United Nations job, and he's already withstood a lot of pressure from home. You know, you can see the amount of pressure that he was getting from Sky and in different news organisations with News Corp about his comments about Trump, and so he can kind of handle a bit of pressure.
Yeah, and it will be good to see the UN Secretary General being somebody who's not so, pardon me, beholden to China like Mr. Guterres is.
It'd be cool to have an Australian there as well.
I think we've had. I think one of the first Secretary Generals was Australian.
No way.
Yeah,
There's never been a woman since 1945 when it started.
Wow.
Yep, read that today.
And Rob, you have got the details on the shiny new Abrams.
I will say I didn't actually see it. So I didn't travel to Michigan to see this thing, but
unfortunately,
I wish. Yeah.
Now it was at the Detroit Motor Show, correct?
Detroit Auto Show, yeah. Which is it's a manufacturing thing. It's not. I wouldn't say it's a big point on the defense industry side of things that I know of, but they had the prototype there for the M1E3, which is a prototype of the new tank. So it's not what it will look like.
Yeah. Now, I did see that they are planning on, General Dynamics is planning on having the first 5 out in the field with soldiers by the end of this year, which is a couple of years ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of the big things that were noticed it's going to focus on digital systems, and you can see that parts of it appear to be modular, so that the back portion of the turret looks like it actually comes off and back on. And that could be an indication they're going to go with an auto loader, which generally allied countries don't really do. I think that's more of a sort of Eastern Europe type thing, auto loaders. We're going to have a crew of 3 that are in the hull, so no one's going to be in that top turret part potentially. And probably the biggest thing that I thought for Australia-wise was that on top of this thing at the show there was an R400, which is a remote weapon station that's built by EOS in Australia, and
just outside of Canberra actually.
And really good product. It can shoot down drones. It can do a lot of things, and it actually had a Javelin anti-tank missile,
which is a bit of a weird one. I don't know necessarily why you would need a Javelin on a main battle tank.
Yeah, it's a concept though.
Yeah.
I'm probably going for a bit of spectacle.
Yeah, I think you'd be. I'd prefer to see a M134 minigun on top rather than a.
They did test those. Those have been tested on Abrams too from man turrets.
Yeah,
but I would say that this configuration that we saw, we've actually seen it before. It's on the unmanned ground vehicle that we saw previously unveiled by Pat Conroy. I think Tanya Munro was there in Sydney.
Oh, that was
remember that little robot with the tracks?
Was that the No, that wasn't the BAE one. That was something different.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what you're referring to. That was the one on the deck of Canberra or Adelaide.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know what happened with that project, but obviously maybe the US looked at it and went, oh, we can just pick this thing up and put it on top of our tanks. And so it's probably an indication they're looking at what's happening in Ukraine and they're saying, we need something on top that can identify targets and shoot them like drones, basically.
Yeah.
Not everyone wants to wrap their tank in little spines or little nets and stuff like that.
And corrugated iron and
Yeah.
And SHOT Show. I know.
SHOT Show recently. Yeah.
Anything interesting there?
There was a few little things. There was some new SCAR rifles that came out. Defense industry wise, it can be hit and miss because it's more of a camping and firearms show.
Yeah.
Not a lot of defense stuff that I can think of there. Yeah.
Now, slightly off topic, but kind of related. There was something that you sent me earlier about the US might be getting a bit of cold feet about their P320s and maybe looking at Glocks.
Yeah. So this was out of SHOT Show. We saw a little bit of speculation that some of the previous issues with Glocks that are kind of being alleged in the US.
You mean previous issues with the SIGs?
Sorry, yes, the SIGs, not the Glocks.
Yeah.
And obviously Glock has just released a new line of their latest handguns, and so there's a little bit of speculation there that they might be picked up by the US Army. Whether that's true or not, we don't know.
Yeah.
But
interesting.
Certainly there's been a lot of news coverage of some of the SIG pistols. Yeah.
And Mark Carney, the successor to Justin Trudeau, who's no longer dating Katy Perry.
No longer.
Yeah. I saw that over the break. Yeah.
I only just saw that they were dating. I'm out of the loop.
Oh, apparently she kissed a girl and she didn't like it.
No.
I had to make that joke in there. But yeah, no, Mark Carney, the successor to Justin Trudeau, has set the world ablaze, saying that the post-World War II rules-based order was never really something that existed. It was something that it was a convenient truth or half-truth that we all kind of paid into and agreed with, but the big powers were always going to do what they wanted to do anyway. And the middle powers and medium powers and small powers had to play along. That's definitely a major departure from the agreed upon rhetoric that is largely trotted out whenever any of our leaders here discuss the world order. What do you think is going to happen?
It was so honest, that speech. I thought that there was a lot of stuff said there that people had been thinking for a long time, but was just brutally honest. That, this idea of rules-based order coming out of World War II and the Cold War, really what we're talking about is a US-enforced world balance.
Yeah.
And all the allied countries that were along for the ride, so Canada, Australia, and all these countries, we kind of went along with the idea that, this is the way it should be. This is what ethically the world has agreed to. But
the world didn't really agree to it, did they? They kind of had to because America held a gun to their head, proverbially.
Yeah.
And in some cases, realistically as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, in case of the Middle East and some of those countries, with Iraq and, that sort of thing. And that was enforced, right?
Yep.
And it was pretty honest. And I thought the way that he described it, being that the middle powers are going to be eaten over the next generation by larger powers sort of enforcing their will.
Yeah.
He put forward the idea that we all have to band together. All the middle powers have to band together to get through this thing. I don't know if that's going to work out, but I think he certainly hit the nail on the head when he said larger powers are going to do what they want for the next period of time.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a bit. Canada's in a very interesting position because they are so close to the United States.
Yeah,
and there were some comments that President Trump made that Canada should be far more thankful towards the US than what they are, and I think that's probably an accurate assessment. Just given that the US was always going to maintain security for all of North America, which has meant that Canada has been allowed to get away with things in terms of the defence space a lot more than what other American allies have.
they carried the ball for North America, for Europe, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's very,
partly,
yeah.
but really, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just like good to see a prime minister, a politician, just being very open and honest. Because I think, I mean, I've definitely noticed like in like social situations, I think people are getting a lot more libertarian and more like focus on our issues. So to like see someone like a politician say things like that, I think it kind of reflects like a wider social trend that people are getting more focused on their own countries.
Just got to get them to agree to it that tax is theft.
Well, okay.
You did say libertarian.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's elements to it.
Yeah.
You still
was-
need to benefit from roads and hospitals and education, and
Yeah.
we need tax for that.
There was some nation building there. Carney said at the end, you can be along for the ride. We invite you to join Canada in this thing. And
Isn't
Yeah,
he
that's a
coming
big
here in
call.
a couple months?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Prime Minister's announced that his Canadian counterpart will be.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's.
I can't imagine we'll see an Australian government sort of leadership on this in terms of, saying we're a middle power, we want to join you, because that has to acknowledge that you believe that the world has ruptured. You know, the world order has ruptured.
Well, there's questions about whether or not we are a serious middle power anymore. And I would argue that most of the world's quote unquote middle powers, and Australia falls into that category, Canada falls into that category. The British do, definitely. They might
As
like
a middle power.
Yeah, they might like to think of themselves as a great power. They aren't. Their nuclear arsenal is not a sovereign nuclear arsenal. It's all maintenance and sustainment on Trident is done by the United States in the United States. I would argue that they, under old rankings, they would be considered a middle power, but the dynamic has shifted as such that we need to reconsider what constitutes a middle power, and under that, we no longer meet the we no longer meet the criteria to be considered a serious middle power.
Who would then?
Japan would. Germany, maybe. Italy, definitely. France kind of skirts the line between middle and great power.
Poland, I think Poland's probably there.
Yeah. Yep.
If
Pakistan,
you can be influenced by other countries readily, you're probably not a middle power.
Yeah.
And when you look at in terms of hard power, so your economic power, your industrial capacity, and your military power, Australia and Canada are really lacking on all of those fronts. The UK is definitely lacking on most of those fronts. Yes, they have their aircraft carriers, but realistically, they can put one to sea at any given time, maybe.
Are they influenced heavily by other nations though? I mean, we could always think of them as an island, really, right?
Yeah, they are, but they aren't.
Yeah.
But they're still, heavily dependent on American strategic.
I mean, what country isn't though?
Yeah,
Besides like China
and Russia.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be some broader consideration around what it means to be a middle power and interrogation of what that means and what that looks like. And Australia has to have a conversation. Do we want to maintain our status as a middle power? If we do, okay, that's going to require some significant trade-offs for what the country currently looks like and what it currently is. And if we don't, okay, then we have to accept that other nations are going to push us around.
Yeah. Dictate policy a little bit. Yeah. Direction.
Yeah. And I don't think that's something that the Australian public is quite conscious of just yet. And particularly when it comes to nations in our region, like Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, nations that we've kind of thought of as being developing second or third world nations, or India for that matter, are going to start trying to push us around to achieve their own objectives. And I don't think we're ready for that yet.
Do you think that would happen?
Yeah.
Those smaller countries?
They're not smaller though,
In what way?
population-wise.
Yeah, but like globally, does Australia would have more of a reach than like Indonesia.
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah. Indonesia has quite robust relationships across the Middle East that Australia just doesn't have. India has quite robust relationships across the Middle East and Africa and Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Certainly, I'd say India, yes, definitely. You know, they're going to be a bigger unit. But Indonesia, I'm not so sure about. It kind of hasn't really come out yet how much influence they would put on it.
You've got to remember that they have 300 million people, 320 million people.
Yeah.
Thailand has 80 to 90, Vietnam's 80 to 90, Philippines about the same. South Korea will continue to play a prominent role, but I don't. And Japan falls into the same boat with the same problem until they work out their demographic issues, or when it gets to a point where their demographic issues really start to bite. That's when they'll start to lose a bit of influence, which is where a lot of these younger, larger nations will start to overtake. And there'll be an intersection. Pardon me. There'll be an intersection on the time on the graph when that happens. And I'd say it's probably around 2035.
Okay. If you're looking at Indonesia for that, you're probably looking at PNG as well. If there's influence going to be made, it's going to be probably start in that area, I would have thought, because it's previously had influence.
Yeah. West Papua.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big problems there. What happens when Indonesia decides that it's jack of listening to us on the status quo and wants to fully occupy and continue to ramp up its ethnic cleansing in West Papua, and Australia can't really do anything about it.
Have to wait and see
Cheery,
for that one.
cheery subject.
Yeah.
Yep. And right. Did we want to go with the grad program or MC55?
Let's talk about the grad program.
Okay.
Grad program.
I thought this was very interesting. So the UK government has announced a fast-tracked undergrad degree that focuses on like drone technology and engineering and stuff. It's backed by the Army, so it's a very small course. So there's 15 civilian students and 5 like soldier students annually, and it will certify them as drone technology specialists. And it's part of like the whole strategic defence review, the plan for change, like to increase England's like capacity. But I thought it was really interesting. And when they announced it, they made a lot of references to Ukraine and how drone warfare is increasing so much, and like that was like a clear display of there needs to be more like educational backing behind it, and like strengthening the behind the scenes stuff about it and how these things actually work. I thought it was really cool. And then like I was thinking about how maybe like we'll get something like that soon, like a more defense focused degrees that aren't just like engineering, But yeah, I thought it was really cool.
And is that size just a pilot program for the time being?
Will really
it grow?
clear. It's at an institute, the New Model Institute for Technology and Engineering, and it starts in September. It's got like a $470,000 Australian dollars like investment, budget into it. So it's not like a huge thing. Yeah, but I mean, it's a start.
So one thing I have seen with those UK programs, we saw a similar thing with their cyber course, where they're trying to get fast-track cyber into their defence forces there, is they will have an initial intake to kind of see how it goes, of like a number of people. And so I bet this thing is an initial intake, like a first wave.
Yeah.
See,
I mean,
15
bit of a
pilot.
20 people total. It's not much.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, that's
This sort of drone stuff is pretty, I mean, we've seen it accelerated more in the US. UK is sort of accelerating it now by the looks of things. We haven't seen it in Australia that much. There's a drone racing team with the ADF, but I'm not sure that there's a stream into that program.
And we've seen just today, as of the 28th of January, the UK is accelerating their program to develop loyal wingman drones for their Apaches. Yeah. Which will be interesting. 7 companies, Lockheed, Anduril, Leonardo. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out and what that looks like moving forward. Yeah.
It's going to be such an important part of modern warfare. You know, what we've seen in Ukraine, drones are basically the new artillery, but they're just more precise by the look of it, I guess.
Yeah. What was that? Late last year, you said that you see drones becoming like the new grenades. Every soldier will be.
I'd love to see sort
Equipped
of
with the drone.
you know, you would as a soldier, you get your rifle in your backpack and everything, and you get a drone that's just maybe an FPV or maybe it has a little bit more autonomy, and you kind of just chuck it out as a grenade, and you know, it can either surveil or maybe a little bit more. I think that would be the right way to go. But then you've got to train everyone to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but you build that into your basic soldering courses, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
And we're already at the point where a lot of soldiers have grenades, and they have I guess, anti-armor equipment and things like that. And so it could happen that this becomes more standardized drones-wise. Yeah.
And Rob, final subject for today. Australia's technically finally received our first MC-55A Peregrine.
First of four.
Pretty
good looking aircraft, actually.
Yeah,
Very
four's
nice.
an odd number though.
It's an even number.
I know it's an even number, but it's an odd number of aircraft to have if you're operating under a rule of three, in that you have 3 on operation, 3 in training, 3 in maintenance and sustainment.
Is that what we do normally?
Yeah, rule of 3 is
right.
normally what
It's a backup.
Yeah, so like if you had 6, you'd have 2 in operation, 2 in training, work up, and then 2 in maintenance, sustainment, overall.
Or if you were doing Collins class, you have 1 on operations, every other one is in maintenance.
Shots fired.
With the MC-55A, it looks pretty good. We put out an initial thing, basically a couple of questions, dealt through Harris and Defence about this aircraft. Last week it had come in that flight enthusiasts, the flight radar trackers had basically tracked this thing coming in. And so we thought, we'll confirm. And that didn't happen until
Trust but
over the
verify.
weekend. Yeah. We didn't get anything back, and then a big announcement after the weekend. And so this is it's an airborne intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance electronic warfare aircraft.
Yeah.
So
Bit more specialised than what the Growlers are.
does it share what roles does it share? Because obviously the P8A does a little bit of that. They do that surveillance, reconnaissance stuff as well.
Yeah, they're more focused on the maritime domain.
Yeah.
Surface and subsurface, counter submarine, potentially counter mining operations and mining operations for the Poseidons. It fits in a very niche role. Not quite a growler, but more capable than a growler in some aspects.
So do you think they'll send it out like the P8 missions that we get now?
Yeah. It'll be largely to pick up signals intelligence, electronic intelligence, data gathering. It'll act like a Hoover, like a vacuum cleaner for all sorts of electronic and data intelligence.
Yeah, we've got it based. They've put it at RAF Base Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's
in
where
South Australia.
That seems to be where a lot of our intelligence aircraft are.
I would have thought you'd put it a bit further north, into the NT and stuff.
Well, you can always have them home based in Edinburgh and forward deployed to Tyndall or RAF Base Darwin.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what they do with P8s. Well, guys, what are we thinking? What are we expecting for the next week? Any predictions?
Well, I think we'll probably see another Trump scandal.
Yeah, I was
as
gonna
usual.
say.
There's probably going to be another one.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm watching with bated breath the build up to Iran. What's going on? There seems to be significant amounts of American military assets being sent to Iran or the Middle East.
There's some reports there as well of some cargo flights coming out of. I don't think they're coming out of Russia. There's certainly speculation they're coming out of China into Iran.
Yes,
with defense equipment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we did. We were having that conversation the other day, weren't we?
Yeah, it was something like 16 flights or something in 50 hours or something like that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So they would want to be, if something's going to happen based on what happened last time, you would want a bit more anti-air and things like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. And
Certainly didn't help Venezuela though.
well, did you see the footage of the Venezuelan, the Cuban bodyguards that Maduro had been delivered home, repatriated to Cuba in a box, in a cigar box? I don't know if they'd already been they'd been cremated in Venezuela, or that's what the Americans did to them. But if that's what the Americans did to them, holy hell.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of countries that go, let's not fight these guys.
Well, there was a couple of reports out of that, changing over Venezuela. There was a couple of reports there. They were saying some sonic weaponry might have been used on Venezuelan troops, basically disorientating people.
Oh my God.
Like an audio attack.
Yeah.
Certainly there was a lot of, there was speculation there was a cyber attack to shut down a corridor for troops to move through.
And electronic warfare. A lot of, some what they call pinchers, which is like an electromagnetic weapon that's designed to kill electronic systems, non-hardened, but, sometimes hardening isn't always foolproof.
Yeah.
Is that sonic one, is that legal?
Yeah, I don't think
is that not like mental?
I don't think it's outlawed. It's probably too new to be outlawed.
Wow.
But there's certainly a lot of countries using it.
Yeah, there's
on their own civilians for riot control and things.
Yeah, the Cubans have used it. There's the Havana syndrome, which they used against the American consulate or embassy. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
scary. I think that one's more portable from what we've seen. Yeah. But it is interesting that Venezuela basically had a month or half a month
notice,
and Maduro still didn't get out on time.
Yeah.
And you go, wow, they must have been very overwhelmed.
Or cocky.
Or that.
Yeah. They didn't think that they would pull it off, they would do it.
Yeah, or it's possible. Wasn't possible at the time.
Yeah.
I saw some footage out of some of the airports in Caracas, and basically there was allegedly Venezuelan anti-air on those airports, civilian airports, but there was also civilian flights there. And so from that footage we saw that those anti-air pieces were destroyed, but the actual civilian airport largely untouched.
Yeah.
You go, that's incredibly precise.
Yeah. I wonder if there won't be any American news, like internationally, if they've got to focus on their own issues going on right now.
Yeah.
But, I don't know how likely that is. Probably unlikely.
Yeah, well, you can walk and chew gum when you're the global superpower, right?
Yeah.
I think we maybe see more medium power nations come out like Carney and say, we can kind of see this, and this is how we're adapting. Certainly France, I think, has said, Macron has said that the power balance is ruptured as well. He probably knows that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
you.
We
will make this a weekly occurrence. I think we'll come in and chew the fat and do it over video where we can, when we can. Well, record it where we can, when we can, rather. And for people who want to stay up to date with the latest in defence and defence industry, or if you've got suggestions on how we can improve our recorded podcasting content, please be kind. This is our first one. Let us know. Drop us an email at editor@defenceconnect.com.au. And for people who want to stay up to date with what we are doing, you can find us obviously at defenceconnect.com.au or across all of your major social media outlets. Until next time, bye-bye.